Well, well, well. Another birthday boy. Thank you, Steve Byrne, for alerting the Costco group to the belated birthday of one Mr. William Holzman, Billy Holzman. I know I've done a couple of these videos. I don't know if I can bang them out for everybody, but I'm game if you guys are. But there's no way, seeing as well we're under this global pandemic, I wasn't going to do one for my longtime friend, Billy Holzman. I mean, next to Rock on this group, Billy is the guy I've known the longest. And I mean, for Rock and I, it'll be 54 years this September. And the first time I met you, Billy, and you can correct me possibly on the year on this, because I think you may recall the game anyway, but I was caddying for your father. So I started caddying at Rideauview in 71. And my memory, it was 1972. The nines were reversed, the way they were in the old days. And so we were on number 11, now number 2. And we were approaching the green. Your dad had hit up. I was doing a double that day. I'm pretty sure Mac LaBelle was in his group. And I think I was caddying for Mac and your dad. Summer of 72. And as we were approaching the green, there was a group of young boys coming off what was then number 16, now number 7. And your dad said to me, when we get up to the green, Liam, hold on because there's somebody I want to see in that group. And I said, all right, sir. So we went up to the green, and I, unbeknownst to me, you were in this group, and he finished putting out, and he walked over, and he signaled for me to come. So I went with him. And as we were coming up to the green, I said, who is it you want to see over there? He said, oh, see the blonde-haired kid. His name is Eric Kaufmanis. And I wanna have a look at him. He's a up-and-comer young fella, and he's playing with my son, Billy. So, Billy, I think it was 72. Does that sound right? I mean, it could be no later than 73. Of that, I'm sure. But I think it was 72. And we went over there and watched you guys tee off. And your dad introduced me to you for the first time in 1972, as I remember it. That's a long time ago. And wow, I mean, no one had any idea. Obviously, Eric Kaufmanis went on to do a lot of great things in the sport, as anybody in the Ottawa area can attest to. Well, so did you. I mean, you absolutely tore it up. Let's be honest here. This isn't, to be a 5-minute resume of your golf career, but I mean, a couple of Tunises in 83 and 86. You anchored I don't know how many intersectional teams. And I mean, I got the Rideauview shirt on today. I'll be sporting the hat, of course, because there's not too many more proud of that club than I am. But, I think when you went overseas and competed in Israel and where you finished over there, I think you helped us to a bronze, if I'm not mistaken. I think you had a 5th place showing overall. That's got to be some of the highlights. I think you had one of, if not the last lesson ever with George Knudsen, let alone an NCAA career, let alone everything you've done for the club. And it should be pointed out, and I'm going to say this, and I've said it before on the microphone, so I'm certainly comfortable saying it in front of this small group. I am so glad that picture of your dad hangs in our club in the hallway there. Your father was a big inspiration to me. I've told you that before, Billy. And for those of you that don't know, the Holzman legacy doesn't start with Billy or his fantastic sister Ellen. It starts with John Holzman. And when Rideauview first burst on the intersectional scene in 1965, John Holzman led the way for us. And a few years later, it was guys like John Holzman and Eddie Saslov and Morris Weltman. They were the backbone athletically from a golf perspective at our club in the late 60s and early 70s. And everyone knows what John Holtzman's involvement was with Golf Canada, especially from the junior perspective and the Quebec Association and everything else. So he was an unbelievable man. And he taught me at Algonquin College on top of everything else. And lest anybody think Billy's mom takes a backseat to anybody, she was mayor of the city of Ottawa for 6 years, from 1991 to 1997. She was a councillor going back to 82. She's a breast cancer survivor. She has sat on numerous boards, championed countless causes, and is an inspiration to women everywhere. That's his mom. So you could say he comes from pretty good genes, to say the least. Proud to call you a friend, Billy. I mean, we go way back, obviously, in the 70s. I was a caddy. You were a up-and-coming junior. And we worked together for Roger Dagenet and Paul Sherritt, our HP. We both relinquished our cards. It affected you more than me, but then you reinstated as an amateur, and you're a club champion at Rideauview, among other places. But you're a champion friend, and it sure has been good to know you all these years. And I know how. I'll finish by saying this: if I remember correctly, your dad died just after Christmas. I want to say 2010 or 2011. I'm pretty sure it was December 28th. Because my late father's birthday was December 29th, and that's how I remember it. So I may be off by a year, but it's 2010 or 2011. And I think if he were alive, to know that you were president of the club, I think he would be more honored by that than anything else. Given the nature of how Rideauview started, why it started, and now your long-standing involvement in it, not just athletically, but now off the course, I think your dad would be super proud of that, buddy. And I'm sure the rest of your family are, and I know I am, and I think I can speak for the group. We've got a great guy at the helm again, as we have in previous years, but it sure is good to have you there. So that's what I'll finish with, buddy. And, of course, no one goes anywhere without a shot of the finest, even though I'm a couple days late for your birthday. I should have remembered you were... Rock and I were just talking. I'm the 22nd, and I think the late Dan Daly was the 23rd, and I guess you're the 27th. So, what a hell of a way to go out and celebrate that. And I hope you had a good one. I look forward to seeing you at the club soon, buddy. All the best. Cheers. G'day.